Welcome back, everyone, to the Word Traction podcast. Today is voter ID from 411 to 911. Your illustrious President DJT, his bleeding blather on Thursday night is telling us what we all feared is in fact coming. And that was capped off by a Mark Wayne, that's one name, not two, Mark Wayne Mullen reminder that they have a system at DHS that they previously used. Everything is called SAVE, the SAVE Act, Save Your Diaper Caddy, and everything else. They had a system that they used that cross-referenced benefit requests to try to identify if non-citizens were requesting benefits for which they weren't entitled. And now they've repurposed that system, undoubtedly with the help of their friends at Palantir, to attack voter rolls where the information is available. And as we talked about the other day, you can purchase voter roll information. Trump tried to demand it from all 50 states, and he is already punishing blue states that don't immediately provide the information that he requests because he's that kind of petulant MF. But with Mark Wayne Mullen on the case, not an intelligent man, not an effective leader, not a compelling character, a little bit unnerving is all we can give him credit for. But he obviously has been given his marching orders, and you can count on the fact that between now and Election Day, the first Tuesday after the first Monday in November, that he will be doing whatever he can at his master's call to disrupt every aspect of elections. And they can, as you and I could do, or any 3-year-old could do with AI, they can target races that have the most impact on the overall Democratic performance in the midterms, the most essential Senate races. You could think of friends, not friends, dearly departed, such as Graham Platter, that Maine is still important, and they'll target Maine as best they can. They will do the same thing with who I'm most concerned about from a humanistic perspective is Abdul Sayed being targeted in Michigan because he, ticks a lot of boxes. A progressive voice, better education than anybody in the Trump administration, and a Muslim, and somebody with brown skin. So they're going to obviously make his life miserable. Our friend James Tallarico, who has, continuing to delight all of us in being a effective foe to the corrupt Greg Abbott slash, the entire Texas vibe that he's certainly, running against the wind to get, however many years it's been since a Democrat has held a Senate seat in the state of Texas. It's been a little while. So, but Trump's doing a lot of bad shit, and there are a lot of silent voters as well. Is it the case, as some pundits and analysts have predicted, that the effect of Trump's Thursday night blather may even encourage some Trump supporters, previous Trump supporters, to just stay home, right? Of course, we want everybody to go out and vote 100% blue. That's not realistic. It should be, with the racism and violence and people, I don't know, like, they made a mistake and they started shooting white citizens instead. Who could have imagined? Yeah. So that's a thing. uh, one breaking news story on the being in the northern part of the country. We've had the haze from the fires up in northern Canada. It's remarkable how far away it is, but we're not very far from the border. It's just that we're further east. But the fires are no joke. And today I was beating up the dog near the playing with the dog, throwing a ball near a window, and I went to open it or close it, whatever. And it was bright out, and then all of a sudden the haze came back over, and I could actually. It's kind of gross, not like big world, third world problems gross, but in a place where the air is usually quite clear and crisp. You can feel it in your nose and mouth, and you can see the brown haze. It's been kind of blowing a little. It's raining a little bit, and we're going to have a little bit of a storm go through, which threatens to give us a kind of a flushing the toilet effect on this on the bad air. But there are health advisories posted in our area and in New York and other parts of the country. And that has nothing to do with lettuce that has carrying something that isn't E. coli, but it's called the runny shit version of that. And a lot of people, you've read the stories about Taco Bell and shredded lettuce and all that. And that's just a reminder that putting somebody like RFK Jr. in charge of food safety is not a good idea. And that the diarrhea on repeat will certainly bring that home to anybody that is suffering from that particular abdominal challenge. Delightful. But back to the atmosphere. Doug Ford, who is the premier of Ontario, is, as you remember, doesn't mind mixing it up with Trump. And when Trump was putting on tariffs and Ford was talking shit about Canadians being better hockey players, which on the whole is a defensible position, and the tariffs on the whiskey, and then Ford instituted tariffs on Canadian products and made maple syrup expensive, and a tit for tat because he knows that Trump is easy to trigger. I think Mark Carney was probably hopeful that Ford would do a little bit less because Carney has an entire country to run and has some large problems. I'm very interested uh, in the Canada Mexico U.S. relationship and how strategically the Chinese are going to try to get more automobiles into the country. We talked about this a couple weeks ago, and BYD and other EVs are, it's going to be like a uh, a gateway drug that once you get a couple of those BYDs in the neighborhood, Crow's seemingly very upset. And that's because we have some very large raptors in the area, and I'm not an ornithologist, nor can I see that far. But whether they are falcons or hawks, I'm guessing not a bald eagle, but they're really big birds with a really wide wingspan, and they eat other birds, and they also eat rodents on the ground. The fact that my dog is, closer to 12 pounds than 112, I have to keep a wary eye out for raptors because he might appear to be like a delectable treat. So Doug Ford, fun, back and forth, F off. He was on a program this morning talking about how little the U.S. was doing to help with the fire suppression efforts and contrasting what Canada had done before and sending those giant planes to California. Even, what the problem they had there, those are the ones that scoop up water and dump it in great quantities. I don't remember the name of these things, but they're miraculous. They were unable to do that because the water management portion of the program on our end wasn't set up to avail themselves of this wonderful technology. But Canadians have always helped their brothers and sisters to the south. And now petulant Donald J. Trump is refusing to help them, just as he's refusing to help people with natural disasters in blue states. Even we talked about a couple weeks ago also the continuing failure of the United States to help fire victims in LA from over a year ago. And one of those victim families is Stephen Miller's mother and father live in that area too. So it's not a good scene, and we're still months away from hurricane season. Excuse me, excuse me. That was a dumb thing to say. I got my calendar upside down. We are squarely in hurricane season. I was in my typhoon slash hurricane brain cramp. So, if there is a state that is affected, Mr. Tillis, for instance, the senator that is retiring and speaking out so forcefully against Trump, if North Carolina suffers a direct hit from a hurricane, will petulant puss Donald J. Trump decide not to send recovery dollars there to try to prove a point that he's king? And in Mississippi and Louisiana and Florida, that they'll get all the recovery money they want because they are red states. That remains to be seen. So I will get on to the meat of the program, which is what you might correctly point out, one of my favorite subjects, which is the ID game that goes with voter suppression. And you might have said when I was just looking this morning that the first time I podcasted or wrote about the importance of the ID game ahead of this midterm election was was last September. And people, of course, because so many things are going on and moving quickly, and Trump's doing so many ridiculous things, and there are wars, storms, people are getting married, people are dying, people are graduating from school. They're just regular life. AI, Vladimir Putin, Iran, Venezuela, all of the things that take up our attention. You could have quite reasonably said back then, what the fuck are you talking about that for a year and 2 months ahead of the election itself? Well, because this is right out of the authoritarian playbook, right? Disrupting voter ID, disrupting the voting system, and all of the things we're going to see. It's completely predictable. You don't have to have read Project 2025 from front to back, which I did. I'm not proud to say I did, not happy that I did, but it's necessary. And you have been following the illustrious career of fat Viktor Orban in Hungary, then this is just the way that they roll, as the kids say. So now we're here. And if you, at this point, have not done what you need to do, it's a checkbox thing. Is your voter ID bulletproof for whatever the fascists might come up with? There is a financial cost to that, right? We talked about that before, that what I did today, sidebar, certified copy of birth certificate. Now, I was born in Cayuga County, Ohio, Cleveland, Ohio, to be more specific, and grew up all of my first. Oh, the air is horrible. Excuse me. only the first couple years of my life were in the beautiful city of Cleveland. But all my mother and father rest in peace, and my brother rest not rest at all. Um, he is full of vim and vigor. Um, we left 2 years, after I was born. But of course, that's one of the component data points that you need to provide when you're getting a certified copy of your birth certificate. What I learned today, known all along, but was reminded of it, there are many sources to purchase a certified copy of your birth certificate, or some places call it a certificate of live birth, right? And most sites have you get the option of the on the going in and going out. You get the birth certificate and the death certificate, and hopefully you won't find yours, the second one there. What I relearned today was there are many what I would call unscrupulous agencies and companies. Many of them not located in the United States, that will provide that information for you, that certificate, but they add on substantial fees. For instance, I ran through three different, a lot of them have the name Vital Statistics somewhere in the name of their company. Vitalstatistics.com, vitalrecordcheck.com, .org, .gov, they don't do .gov, but you know what I mean. They use that vital record because it kind of makes it sound like it's a verified medical unit, CSI, vital statistics. But they aren't, of course. So on the average of the three that I started down the road on, got you for just to get the certificate with normal handling, they got it up to 60 odd dollars on the average of the three. There are more and perhaps less expensive, but I searched pretty extensively. Then they have a lot of, if you need it fast, express processing fees on it. And, they make the first one's this price, but we'll give you a second one for, X minus 50%. But they're bagging people really hard. And especially this is a subject because human nature, a lot of people are going to leave this to the last minute. It's not the last minute yet, but the next time we talk about I'm probably going to talk about this once a week until the election because it's so important. The only thing that matters is turning people out. And when you show up, are you registered properly? Do you have the proper ID? That's the whole ballgame. You know, some people have a more difficult time getting to and from. That's why I said in previous episodes, make a plan, but also look at people in your community, family members or next door neighbors. If you have neighbors that are disabled in some way and can't easily get to and from the voting place, make a plan now. Visit with them, put it in your, if it's not a shared calendar, make sure you enter it in the calendar for them. Just be a good neighbor. And then they can put it out of mind. And that allows you in a transparent way, not in a sneaky way, but it allows you to open a conversation to make sure that they aren't disappointed when they show up. Hey, this is a crazy world and there's a lot of shady shit going on. Have you reconfirmed your status as a voter up here in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts? Well, I've been voting for, 57 years at the local school. So, I don't need to confirm anything. They would have told me, right? Wrong. So I don't suspect in some places, some jurisdictions, some commonwealths, some states, I think that I'm in a luckier position than Mass because it's a more progressive and more aggressive governor, and Maura Healey. that she's not going to be fucked around with by Massengill Mussolini at all, and she's taking the challenge very seriously. But there are other states that are going to be under tremendous pressure, and a lot of pressure at the last minute. So you want to, without inciting fear, you want to point out that it's advisable to update that information. You can ask, is there any way I can help? And within, whatever you feel ethically able to do, whatever your state ethically allows you to do as someone, you put your name down as someone that helped someone else prepare, whatever it takes. But if there are people that you feel are somehow disadvantaged, physically or like this old guy, that have a hard time and might just say, I'm gonna sit this one out. We need each and every eligible voter to vote, and we don't disadvantage red state voters. We don't disadvantage MAGA voters. We we want them to see the light. We want them to see what this guy is doing to their community, their own homeboys and girls. But we're Americans first and neighbors 1A, at least, if not in reverse. So, no, we help everybody that needs it, but do what you can. So on this little adventure this morning on these here interwebs was those three, I said, average with the standard shipping and no additional certified copies. It got a freaking birth certificate got up to 60 and change, which is not affordable for many and will turn many people off, right? But this is one of the primary sources of verification for proving that you are a citizen, right? So you were born in the United States before they take another hatchet to birthright citizenship. At least that is settled law for now. So I did all that, but then I went to the county website in Cayuga County in in Ohio and went on, and it's more expensive than it was the last time I can remember. I think, no, that may not be, maybe I was helping somebody else in another state because I have relatives that were not born there too. Yeah, so it was 20 with the processing fee, it was $22 for my one certified copy of a birth certificate with regular shipping. I'm going to have it in less than 2 weeks. I feel better. I've got another one in a safe deposit box, like the original one, but I want one that's a little bit more durable, and I can make sure that it's going to be clear because it's coming from the county in which I was born to begin with. And they do a lot of things wrong in Ohio and a lot of things too red for my tastes now. But they know how to get shit done. They're kind of a get shit done kind of state. Yeah. So that was my learning, and that the only way that applies to you, dear viewer and listener, is get at it, but get at it the right way. Don't just Google certified copy of birth certificate and take the first pick, even though it's a slick name and star rating 1600 sold in the last day, whatever. Go to the county site for where you were born. Go to the county. Default, if that doesn't work, to the state and search there. and exhaust that before you do anything else. But I would suggest that every even people now this may sound a little bit silly for 20 bucks, but of course, the certificate of live birth, if you are a woman or a man who changed your name upon getting married, or for some other reason, you became a rock star, the normal things in life. Then you need to. I would get one if you don't have a certified copy of your birth certificate. I'd get it anyways because I haven't war gamed exactly what the fascists have coming next, but that is your legal proof of being born in the United States. The fact that the name has changed because you got married, you have other documents. What your homeboy Mark Wayne Mullins said, and I pointed out in a post this morning, the only true thing that he said in his entire post from yesterday was that a real ID is not proof of US citizenship. We know that, but we have a lot going on in our lives. And you're like, hey, I just renewed my driver's license. Isn't there like a little emblem somewhere on there that a watermark that says that I'm a US citizen? Probably fake news. You can use that as, supplementary proof of residency, proof of identification more generally. So you can supplement the their certificate of live birth with something like that, and you're good, right? And the one that sucks for everyone that I was talking about yesterday with a nice another young person on this here platform was she pointed out government should just give everybody a passport, and I did that 2 weeks ago. It's absolutely the right way to prove that you're a citizen of the country and a resident, and you have the legal right to vote. Now it's 160 bucks and more if you add on the slick little card and expedited. I'm not even sure, but let's just go with the base. The 160 is real money. Right? Do you have an extra? Is that your electricity bill for a month is 160? And why do I need to do this for this asshole? You're right, but we're in the situation we are, and as I suggested, we got to play the ball where it lies. And the best way to assure that you are prepared, if you can afford it, is to get the passport. Some statistics I'm going by memory, but last night, of approximately half the adults who are US citizens currently living in the United States have a passport. Approximately half. It's a little bit more. So if Donald Trump thought he was doing something slick, could the US government, if it were free, could they make passports in time for the midterm elections? No fucking way. Because we've got an antagonistic postmaster general. It's a mess, right? So even barring the fee, right, the financial impracticability for many people to do this, but we could put together a plan and say that by, if it's 180 million currently have it, and that's 50%, and we break that down over X amount of years, and we currently produce in the last 3 years, I think we've been averaging 25 million passports a year, plus or minus. So could we ramp that up? Obviously, the U.S. Postal Service is a weak cog in this entire machine and has been since I was born. It's been having financial problems, and we didn't need to hear Trump's homeboy Weiner, the postmaster general. That's not the name, but it's I'll get to it eventually. He's like, "Hey, we're broke. If we're asked to do all the things we've been asked to do, we're gonna run out of money. We ain't got enough." Right? Right. But it's priorities, and if we had a Congress that woke up and funded it properly, we could say that by, I don't know, 2 years for that many, we could we could effort 2028 and make 2030 the ultimate drop dead date and make sure that every single person has a passport. And then it's a moot point. And Republicans too should be concerned about this because there are plenty of people of limited means in the MAGA South that don't travel out of the country or don't have the money that they want to spend on getting a passport or think that it's part of the deep state's plan to steal your soul by taking your picture. Whatever it is. I don't know, don't care. But there are plenty of people in that boat too. Now, I'm going to say in a not in a conspiratorial way, but almost, that in red voting precincts, that they will be a little bit more forgiving with ID deficiencies in red states for white people, right? Billy, Joe, Jim, Bob, Jeff Bro, and Emmy Lou show up and they left in their various aunties who are their mom and dad left their IDs in their pocket, whatever went through it's on the washboard, whatever happens, that there are going to be people that will let that happen, and there won't be the sort of militarized police presence in the red states because Trump won't send them. But those are not votes that we're likely to get, except in the case of Alaska, maybe Nebraska, Texas, Georgia, Pennsylvania, the ones where we have the chance to swing for the fences. And that's where he's going to be sending his bearded homeboys with guns but no firearms training. Get on it, you know? Am I registered to vote? Check. Do I have valid ID, bulletproof valid ID? Check. Have I made a plan? Look at the date on the calendar, talk to the neighbor, say, okay, I can drive. I can't drive. I hypothetical person, I can drive and I can take next door neighbor Mary to and from the ballot, regardless of whether we're putting it in our relative, she has a calendar on the sideboard in her kitchen and you put it down and you put a date 1 week before to check in. You verify if she'll allow you, and you can do it in a way that isn't, like being a dick, I think the technical term is. But you want to make sure that Mary, if she's in her 80s or something, you want to make sure that perhaps her ID is not going to expire on her birthday 2 weeks before the election. You know? So I always like to, pick a date through 2028. You're looking at your real ID, the birth certificate never expires, and the passport, you want to make sure that the good through date is after the midterms and then after the general, because that will keep you out of trouble. So, yeah. So this is just a check in, a wake up, help your neighbor, and realize if you didn't realize it before that the shit is real, and he's going to be doing everything legally and many things that are not legal under the principle of just try to fucking stop me. We meaning progressive causes, will have lawyers, particularly at the most consequential voting jurisdictions. But remember, Donald Trump has free legal. He can send DOJ temps, new hires, whatever I mean, obviously, if I were him, I'd be bulking up and having lots of lawyers, put them on the border as as immigration lawyers or something until that time, and then pull everybody in and make a plan with the help of your friends at Palantir and otherwise that you can attack the system. You can set up very interesting. I heard a podcast the other day, an interview with some of the newly appointed campaign executives in Fulton County, Georgia. And, the Brad Raffensperger, right? The Secretary of State, who stood up so valiantly. Now we have a whole bunch of Laura Loomer types in positions of power. And this is happening all over the country. It is difficult. And if you just game it out in your head and like, what happens when that voting box that's outside of the fire station all of a sudden goes missing, and there's a sign on the wall that says, ICE took this, fuck you, then, we're going to have some problems. But the only antidote to all of those risks is overwhelming turnout. Overwhelming. So it's back to the beginning. It's registered, got it, check. ID, bulletproof, wasted a bunch. I wasted $1.60 because some fucking guy on Substack bugged me so much. I got a new passport for my wife, who is a citizen but never got a passport for whatever reason. And now she's going to be voting with me, or you'll be voting with her. Just those little things, waking up the neighbor, that you can engage in a way that is not preachy, judgy, as the kids never say. How can you do that? Introduce the subject as, may I help you? Not, it's your moral responsibility to X, Y, where look where we live. Don't get all moral on anybody. It ain't going to work. But are you going to stand up in your Sunday church service? No, that's not the correct venue for that either. And I'm getting a few more raindrops. So with that, I thank you, and do what you can, help a neighbor out. And I'm going to formalize a weekly, trying to make it more fun, just bringing in either new developments in voter suppression so you can keep your eyes out for it. I'll learn more as we go, so you don't have to. And if not, we'll share stories about lessons learned in Hungary, Moscow, or otherwise. So thank you, and wishing you a beautiful weekend tomorrow, maybe, and World Cup tomorrow, Monday, whatever it is. Watch it. Good luck to whomever. It'll be a treat because Spain has been giving it back to Trump. Leadership in Spain. I posted that delightful young leader whose name escapes me right now, who was just slinging it at Trump, singing happy birthday to him in Spanish or in English, I can't remember. But she said, happy birthday, Mr. Genocide. So, yeah, we need more of that from our friends around the globe. So thank you. And I'm going to do this, no sunlight to worry about. And we'll check in with you tomorrow sometime. Thank you very much.